You're all right. You're all right.
No, I do not like that. I'm not doing that again.
All right, welcome to the Tough Mudder Obstacles video. Hoping to show you what most of the Tough Mudder obstacles are and a little bit about how to do each one. We're starting off with Hero Carry. Pretty basic one, right? Throw your friend over your shoulder. You go a certain amount, and then you swap over, and then they take over for you. Or in this case, our models for most of this video, Taryn could not quite get Peter up. She's trying, but it didn't work out. Okay, next up is trench warfare. Basic trenches here, as you can tell. And a lot of Tough Mudder is not skill-based as much as it is fear-based or challenge-based. So, for example, you know, getting muddy, getting uncomfortable, going through mud. Doesn't require skill, but it requires you to go past kind of something you didn't want to necessarily do. On to this one is called Hold'em, or Texas Hold'em. And as you can see, Taryn and I, unsuccessful at this. Taryn and Peter, much better. Again, this is like fun. This isn't like, oh my God, I can't do this. You'll kind of hear me repeat these themes, as opposed to Spartan, which is more of like skill-based obstacles. They both are challenging. They both are fun. They both have some of both. But look how much fun they're having. These two gals decided to lock hands this way. And, you know, you're just doing some teamwork here, right? Doing some teamwork, coming across. You can tell they're already muddy from going through that previous obstacle. And off they go. Now, this is a fun one. This one, I believe, is teabagged. Tough Mudder loves their sexual innuendo names. And this is, again, if you're already muddy, everything's harder. I'm going to repeat that a lot through the day, too. If it's a cold day, everything's harder. If it's a muddier day, rainier day, everything's harder. And she is doing this kind of traverse. You can also go on top, although I think in this film, this footage I caught. Now, Peter is shaking her here. This is not allowed. But Peter is messing with her, which created that great bit you saw at the beginning. And a fun workout, right? And what's the worst thing that happens if you don't make it? Well, you fall in. You get wet. Again, Peter doing what he definitely should not be doing here. And again, on a cold day, you do not want to get in that water. But on a nice day, not too bad. Taryn was not going to give up on this one. This is now on this one, again, this is more kind of fear-based. You're not really getting the sense of it, but it can feel pretty claustrophobic under there. And again, muddy, uncomfortable, not skill, just got to get through and get it done. Now, here's a fun one. This one is called Augustus Gloop from Willy Wonka, and they've changed this obstacle this year and made it netting-based, which is considerably harder than just the tubes they had there before, if you can imagine the original Augustus Gloop from the movies. So you're going up, hit this net, and the water is coming straight down on you, and it is a bit of a challenge. This one is definitely a challenge. A little bit of fear. You got water coming down on you. How do I navigate this? No matter your fitness level, you can do it, right? You can pull yourself up. You can step on those things. But definitely one that could challenge you. Now, this one's almost everybody's favorite. This one is called Blockness Monster. Now, what you're going to see here is everybody trying to go at once, which you cannot do, as I just told them. What the ideal way to do this is you get some awesome momentum going. So you see how that went over like that? Now, ideally, the next two would go, and the people behind them are pushing, and the people on top are pulling down, and you get a nice flow there. I don't think these guys ever quite got it together, but this one is super fun. Everybody loves it. You're cheering each other on. You get over the first one, and then you all do it again. Like, oh, okay, we just did this. Let's do the next one. Everest, another Tough Mudder classic that you've probably seen and wondered, how can I get up this wall? This is a dry day, So this will be the easiest Everest will ever be. Again, a muddier, harder day, much harder. But this is one of those great things where strangers are going to help you get up. Strangers are going to help you get up this wall, and then you're going to turn around and you're going to help strangers as well as your friends. As you can see, some people can do it without any help at all. Some people need a lot of help. So these guys get this guy over. Usually you want to get probably a couple, 3 people at least, so you're not jerking on people's arms. You're going to see here in a minute a couple guys just get it. They just ran up and did it, and that's fine too. But this is definitely probably the most like team. Like you'll get done for this one. She's like, hey, are you ready for me? It's the way to do it. Like, look, make sure they're looking at you, and then off you go. And then are she going to get it on the first try? She does not. But that's okay. She's going to try it again. I think this is our super fit bro. He just went up by himself. Not nearly as fun as, I've been here when it's a super muddy day and people will try and try and try, and minutes go by, and then finally we get it, and the whole crowd erupts. And up she goes. And finally, we have this gentleman who happens to be the current head of Tough Mudder. This is Giles. Full send. He bloody went for it. Not even dressed for the event. Just went out for a lap that day. And here goes attempt number 2 or 3. I can't remember which one. And you can see they got him. Now, what they need here is probably 2 more men. 1 to grab his legs, and 1 or 2 to pull on the men that are pulling him. And that's kind of how it goes when the day is really going. It's really crowded up there, and everybody's digging in. And, again, once you get up there, you turn around and help at least the next couple of folks. It just happens. They don't need a volunteer telling you to do that. It's just what happens. So cage crawl, I will admit this is one of the scariest ones, certainly for me. There is not a lot of room to breathe, but there is room to breathe. So, again, I'll say as what I've said before, cold days, even harder, getting in that water, like they're just kind of standing around. But when you get in and it's cold, you're like, oh, shit. So now they're going to do, this is exactly what you should do. Just get going. Now that you're in there, just move, just crawl, just breathe. The volunteers here telling you, hey, let's just keep it moving. You got it. You got it. That's what I'm doing, I believe, with my little camera. And if you just focus and breathe, you got it. Now, as you remember from the beginning of this video, somebody gave up halfway. They popped up through that cage, and that's possible to do, right? There's a lifeguard nearby, and you will not die.
Almost done. This is the last one.
And they made it. Definitely a scary one. Definitely one that when you get done is like, woo! You'll remember that one when you're in the car or having a beer afterwards. So, yeah, here's our friend that pops up and says, no mas. I'm assuring her that she is okay. I mean, she's in a good mood about it. I expected her to be like, holy shit, when I saw that thing pop up. But yeah, cage crawl's a doozy. All right, so this is another funsy one, right? You're supposed to just hop on one of these or 2, and I think these guys try to do 3. Yeah, they get really creative and try to do 3, which I'm not sure it was designed for. And again, this is just fun. Like, it's even refreshing on a hot day and a cold day. You probably want to get through this one pretty quick and not fall in. But as I stated earlier, a lot of Tough Mudder is just getting out there and doing it. Like, you don't need, hours in the gym to do this one. But it is fun. And these guys really wanted to do the 3-way, which I would not recommend. But it looks like this worked. Oh, well, if they didn't sink the entire way, it would work. All right, tipping point. Now, this one you can do by yourself or with friends. Again, confined spaces, stuff that people don't necessarily love. And then sliding into a mud pit, although on this day, the water was a little low. I would say that this obstacle can be very different on a muddier day, more water. So you're already uncomfortable. You're already kind of cramped in the space. You pull yourself up, and then whoosh, splash. But as you can see, the guys here, they're tipping it as the person gets to the other side. Now, if they don't tip it, your weight's going to do that. But these guys are helping each other, and that's fun. And I think this one would have been better on this particular day. I don't know, sometimes, if the hose didn't work or something. But, yeah, landing in a big thing of mud and water, slightly unpleasant. Now, I had not seen this one in a while. This is definitely not at every single Tough Mudder event. You got to have a giant big hill to have this nice slip and slide. And again, this is a gorgeous day. So, like, what is wrong with a beautiful slip and slide on a gorgeous day? On a cold day, this is a very different experience. Still fun, though. Hard not to have fun on something you probably haven't done since you were 8 or 10 or 12. Now, this is Mutterhorn, which is definitely, I'm showing you specifically how high up we are on Mutterhorn, which is a giant A-frame with a cargo net on top of you. Which I'm not sure if it's scarier or not. Like, without the net, would you feel less safe, or with the net, do you feel more cramped? But yeah, you are up there. I want to say it's 30 feet, but it is probably higher than you've ever climbed in recent days. And again, you can do it, fit or not. It's just getting over that fear. The Mud Mile. This one, absolutely, your mileage may vary. This one is, I've seen it where it's so muddy you definitely could not do this without help at all. But this is another fun teamwork, muddy obstacle, kind of a staple of all Tough Mudders. You will definitely see Mud Mile at any of the locations you do. And, you know, this guy just hopped up by himself, but a lot of times you cannot do it without another arm. This is another one where even if it's you and your group of friends, you need another group of friends to be the first one up to get you, and then you turn around and help each other. Then you go to the next one, and on you go. And this is the end of the day. And again, I've seen it much worse. Okay, Arctic Enema. This is my buddy Clayton. And if you remember Clayton from the beginning, it is quite cold. 1, 2, 3. Now you can see how it affected him. The next two women, if I recall, they just kind of go through it. So it really depends on your tolerance. This is another big go or no go, as we say, like fear, like holy S, how cold is it going to be? I've seen it that you can't, like these guys are kind of waiting, like waiting, WADING in the back here. And it's like, I've been in there when it's ice, like filled with ice. Now, so this guy, for example, it hit him after. He came out, I missed it, and then he got that brain freeze. I said, did his brain just figure it out? He is feeling it. But yeah, that thing can be filled with ice. This is another venue-specific one. This one is called Underwater Tunnels, but it's sort of a natural one. There was a nice little lake crossing. So they built this apparatus. And yeah. Super refreshing end of the day. Cold day. Could be tough. Before we come up across EST, or electroshock therapy, the one that scares people the most. And I'm going to go ahead and start talking about this early before we get there, to say that I've done it a bunch over the years. And the question is, how bad is the shocks? Well, the answer is I've run through it, and it barely did much to me. And I've run through it, and I got knocked in the dirt, and it hurt. So it really depends. They did a weird setup for this time. They did this like to where you have to do it laying down, which kind of defeats the purpose of like sprinting through it. So people still got shocked, but not nearly as cool as it normally is. But this was the setup that we had today, which is crawling on your belly. But the biggest thing you need to know is that just go as fast as you can. Some people like to go between the wires really slow. I never like to go that way. And then when you're done, you get this cool headband. Look how stoked she is. You did it. You got it done. You get your orange headband. These are yellow, but they're going to be orange, I think, completely next year. But it does feel good. You got it. Got her done. And then afterwards, there's usually a bar or two and a drink or two, depending on the sponsors that you get. They're usually like, here, take a bunch of these. You're starving. You'll drink it. Prom I actually enjoy. Sometimes there's finished drinks that I don't like and I don't want to drink. I'm looking at you, Fit Aid. But I enjoyed a couple prides this weekend. Primes. You're a man's man. And you put on this beautiful shirt. This year it's very simple. Not a ton of logos. Just boom. Tough Mudder. Be sure to like and subscribe and watch. We've got other videos for you. Enjoy!